All right, in this short video, I'm going to cover stonewalling. This happens in intimate partnerships like marriage, and we're going to talk about what the definition is, we're going to talk about the impact of it, and then we're going to talk about what to do about it. All right, first, what is stonewalling? There are many definitions. I particularly like this one, which says stonewalling is primarily about refusing to communicate. It's basically like shutting someone down. Shutting down conversations, avoiding engagement in discussions, and being unresponsive. Some people consider this the silent treatment, right? The person who is stonewalling may ignore the other person, change the subject, or make dismissive remarks like, I don't want to talk about this. The main goal of stonewalling is often to avoid confrontation, control the conversation, or completely disengage from the conversation. What is the impact of stonewalling? Well, one of my favorite mentors, Dr. John and Julie Gottman, who I've had on the podcast, cover this really in depth. And they've done research on over 3,000 couples over the years, and they can predict based on, how couples interact in a session, whether they're going to get divorced. And the Gottmans call stonewalling one of the 4 horsemen that will lead to divorce if they continue in a partnership. Some of the other impacts here is it's really when you shut down your partner, or when you feel shut down by your partner, the conversation can't go anywhere. So the impact is I start to feel totally constipated emotionally, like I can't express my truth, I can't express my emotions, and I can't get back to a good place or get to zero, as I say in my book. We can't resolve the conflict. We can't repair when you or another person is consistently shutting the conversation down. Like, I don't want to talk about it, etc. I'll share some examples that I shared on social media here in a minute so you get a real clear idea of very specific examples. Okay, stonewalling can increase defensiveness, according to the Gottmans. It can reduce the ability to solve problems both alone and together. And really, it thwarts the ability to listen more deeply and empathize. We can't get to empathy, which is critical for repair, if we're stonewalling, right? Or being stonewalled. What's interesting here is a lot of people stay in relationships where they're continually getting stonewalled. And why is that? That's often because these people grew up in families where they got stonewalled as kids by the big people, by the parents, by siblings. And they felt like, okay, cool, I can't share my truth here. I can't share my emotions. I'm just going to shut it all down. That was certainly true in my family with emotions. So we can get stonewalled around emotions. We can get stonewalled around just wanting to dialogue. We can get stonewalled around finances. We can get stonewalled around sex. We can get stonewalled just about with anything in our relationship if we're with someone who will shut down or close off from the conversation. This is incredibly detrimental, and it leads to shitty relationships, mediocre relationships, toxic relationships, insecure relationships, and relationships that will eventually end. In a moment here, we're going to talk about what do we do about this. But first, I want to share some examples, okay? I made these role play videos, and I posted them on social media, so check these examples out. I never said that.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
Will you please talk to me about this?
I'm busy. Honey, I don't have a part in this. It's you.
Hey, we need to finish this conversation.
Leave me alone. I refuse to talk about this.
Hey, can we talk about what happened the other night? Hey.
This whole conversation is so pointless.
Hey, we need to finish this conversation.
I told you I don't want to talk about it. No, it isn't. This is all your fault. You're just wrong, and I don't need to explain why. Oh, whatever. Yeah, okay, ouch, right? These are examples of what a partner will say when stonewalling, and they're really painful, right? You can see that me in the role play, I'm shutting down every conversation. I don't want to have anything to do with it. In another video, I talked about one of the worst things you can do is storm out of the house, slam the door, and not come back with a return time. go check out that video if you want to see examples of what would sound and look differently and better. Okay, now what do we do about stonewalling? Well, a lot of people think, oh, we've got to communicate better. Well, yeah, but if you're with someone who doesn't want to communicate better, you're screwed, right? The relationship isn't going to go anywhere. So the very, very first step is to have a contextual conversation with your partner and say, look, do you want to talk about how you're treating me? Or I want to talk about how you're treating me in our relationship. It feels really bad. I don't like this. And it's not working for me. And we need to find a different way to communicate. Are you open to getting help, learning a new way, etc.? Are you open to looking in the mirror, in other words, at your own stonewalling behavior and working on it and working to change it? And if that person stonewalls that, then you're screwed again and you don't have anywhere to go but really to stay in a terrible relationship or work toward leaving. And I understand leaving relationships can be hard, especially if there's kids and finances involved and mortgages and financial dependency. Of course, why would you stay in a relationship with someone who has no interest in working on their part of the stonewalling dynamic, right? Now, we have to look in the mirror, because we're the ones learning here, at do we stonewall? Do we shut the conversation down? Do we run away and not come back and forget to talk about it? Are we doing those kind of behaviors? And often the person that's growing and learning isn't. They're the ones saying, hey, can we talk about it? I want to look at my part. I need to go to therapy or coaching and get some help here. So that person is usually not stonewalling. They might have the occasional outburst or something that feels like stonewalling. But if you come back and repair, it's not, the stonewalling just fades. It disappears entirely because you're saying, I let down my wall. I'm open to a dialogue and I want to dialogue with you. Okay, so the very first step to review is have a contextual conversation to find out if they're interested in working on this. If not, again, you have two choices: stay in a terrible relationship or leave, right? Now, if the person's like, okay, my bad, I do this thing where I kind of blame you and I shut the conversation down, and that is bad. Can we slow this whole thing down and work on it? Then you're in business. Okay, this is a willing person who's saying, yep, I can and will work on my part of our dynamic. Then you start learning how to LUFU each other, as I've said in my other videos on superior communication skills. We take breaks, we pause, we take some breaths, we might get some coaching or some couples therapy to work through some of the things that might cause stonewalling and also to help us relax out of a stonewalling position. Okay, because some of us, we get entrenched in our beliefs or our view and we shut other people down. But if we're open-minded and we're like, yeah, I do that sometimes, okay, I'm self-aware. I have some insight into myself and I'm willing to change. You can always seek professional help. You can hire coaches. You can hire our relationship coaches. You can go to counseling, therapy, etc. But I wouldn't recommend getting help if the other person doesn't want help and has no interest in saying they're doing anything wrong and they don't want to learn. And they're just going to continue to shut everything down. Okay, that is an unworkable, impossible situation. All right, leave a comment below if this was helpful and make sure to subscribe to my channel and we'll see you in the next video.